standing strong and tall. Yeah, this is the Bullvine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade, dairy strong legends being made. Yeah, this is the Bullvine coming on the air, sharing the stories of the folks who care. Profiles of passion, voices of the trade.
Welcome to the Bullvine podcast, where we challenge everything you think you know about dairy farming. I'm your host, and today we have an absolutely mind-blowing story that's going to make you rethink your entire breeding program. Get this. A 72-cow tie stall operation from Saskatchewan, yes, Saskatchewan, just became the first and only farm in history to breed two different World Dairy Expo Holstein Grand Champions. Not one, two, while mega-dairies with unlimited budgets were chasing genomic rabbits down million-dollar holes, Michael and Jessica Lovich were quietly proving that looking at actual cows still beats computer algorithms. In this exclusive interview with Andrew Hunt, you're about to hear how they did it, why they sold both champions to keep farming, and what their success means for every dairy farmer who's been told they're too small to compete. If you're ready to have your assumptions challenged, let's dive in.
I sent you the questions kind of ahead of time. Not that we were going to follow it to a T, but it was trying to give you kind of the stuff we were going to go over, but kind of give you a heads up. But I think you guys know what the gist of our message is, since that's what we were texting all about. So we'll get rolling, but I do appreciate you guys joining us. So cool.
No problem.
So let's get started. First of all, maybe just walk me through the kind of key moment here is when Aaron Eaton named Candy Cane Grand Champion. What were you guys doing? And kind of what was it like for you guys to watch that moment?
Well, I was at home doing chores because it was a last minute decision to send Michael down to Expo. We just needed to be done harvest and all that kind of stuff. So I was following along kind of and decided I would come in for lunch to watch the show, but I really couldn't even eat lunch. So I was kind of just puttering around in the kitchen watching the class. And it was, nerve-wracking actually to see her in the ring with all those other big name cows, because it was the first time she's done that in her show career. So that was exciting, nerve-wracking, all in the same moment, I guess. So yeah, that's where I was at here at the farm.
And Mike, you made it down with us then at Expo?
Yeah, I was in the stands, and throughout the day I went back to the stall one time there to look at her just to see where things were at. She was laying down, and had a quick conversation with Jamie and Jonathan, and yeah, he said, I think she just needs to lay down for a bit and we'll go from there. And I never went back to the stall after that. I kind of sat there all day and watched. And yeah, when the 5-year-olds come in, you're kind of nervous. But as he was kind of making his final looks and everything else, he kind of walked to each one of those 3 cows there at first. And yeah, I was probably the most nervous guy in the barn because I was shaking so bad I couldn't even hold my phone for pictures. So it was my heart felt like it was gonna pop out of my chest. It's kind of a feeling you can't describe.
Now that was kind of an amazing class, and I wouldn't call her an underdog, but she was certainly one she wasn't coming in as a hands-on favorite. So this was kind of the nervous moments, how good does she look, probably feeling, because certainly she looked great, but you never know when you get into that kind of tough sledding at Expo there. Yeah, and just with the speaking with Alicia earlier on or whatever in the week, and she just said, if we get a good look and she gets in a top spot like pulled or whatever, you're going to have to make sure you got a cheering section to cheer. Well, I said, I'm not much of a screamer at the show, but when she got the first pull, there was a big roar. So I was, pretty happy for that moment.
Yeah, it wasn't you that was making the noise.
It wasn't me making the noise, but it was somebody tapped me and said, "Are you happy?" I said, "Nope, not until we're in the final lineup." I said, there is no sitting down until he does his reasons and we get the nod for first place. I said, it's only the first pull. So I said, there's no celebrating yet, but yeah, it was quite something.
It's interesting because you mentioned his reasons, and in his reasons, I think he even said, like, the second she came in the ring, he thought it was game over. So I think he'd made his decision quick, but you were still holding out just to make sure he didn't change his mind.
Yeah, and I was very close to listen to reasons, especially like first. And yeah, I won't forget that when he said when this 5-year-old hit the ring, it was game over.
You know,
that's incredible.
That's a feeling as a breeder that. Yeah, it gives you goosebumps, makes the hair on your back stand up on your neck, and yeah, it's quite something. It's quite something.
It's quite interesting because as photographers, we actually listen to the judges' reasons quite heavily because it helps us when it comes to grand to know kind of which one the judges fell in love with and which ones doesn't. And when we came to the senior champion time, Jen and I both came to each other, and I said, we both said the same cow. We said, based on his reasons, I think it's her. I said, I think so too. And sure enough, he did. And that at a show like that, kind of have her named grand champion, you know, for most people, it's a once in a lifetime. But
yeah.
But for you guys, this is the second time. So, you know, that's kind of extremely unique. Actually, it's the first time ever that it's ever been done. You know, maybe just to recap, you know, with the first time it happened for you guys, explain what are your memories of that or how that came about?
Well, I was at Expo when Patricia was reserve.
The year before.
In 14.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was sitting, I remember it, I was sitting beside my buddy Matt Clark from New Brunswick, and Dale Beanert was in the stands there, and he pulled out his final 3, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you just realize that you're finishing no lower than reserve?" Because he pulled out the two 5-year-olds and the age cow. He says, "Regardless of how this goes, you can't finish any lower than reserve." And it never dawned on me until because at first you got all kinds of thoughts going through your mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, he says, he said, "You're no lower than reserve." And yeah, he tapped Haley at that time and Patricia reserve and Valena honorable. And yeah, it was, I guess it's feelings you just, like you dream of all the time, but you never think it's going to happen. But when it does, it's undescribable. So.
And she did come back the next year to get her done.
To win, and be supreme. Yeah. So that was pretty sweet. So, yeah.
And that year we couldn't go. We just had too much going on. We were actually moving.
Yeah.
That was the year we moved, so we weren't able to go. But we sure did have a barn party that week.
Yeah.
It was a going away barn party. I think it was a classifier night or something too. Yeah.
You rolled them all into one real big party then.
Yeah. That one was pretty cool. That one, I guess that one was different because we hadn't spent as much time with Patricia as we had with Candy Cane. The decision to let her go was based on finances, and she went through the convention sale.
Yeah,
as just a nice 2-year-old, first of all, right? And we were happy with that, right? And then she just got into the right hands with Nathan Thomas taking her first, and he's a good cow guy, right? So
great guy.
Yeah, and then from there, she just kind of kept developing too. So
yeah. Now, just refresh for me, the Candy Cane you guys had her up until spring show this year or recently? When did you sell Candy Cane to Oakfield?
The spring of 2024.
2024, last year. That's what I thought.
Yeah, after we showed her as a 4-year-old in Saskatoon.
Yeah. With Aaron.
Yeah, I want to say Aaron was a judge then.
I think Aaron was even.
Aaron was. In chatting with him afterwards, Aaron was. Because He had commented that he not barely remembered, but he remembered her, but was extremely impressed with how far she's come along. And obviously he was, because he made her grand. So to say he was impressed was an understatement at the least when you're grand champion at World Dairy Expo.
Yeah.
Well, and she turned some heads at Saskatoon.
Yep.
We had a lot of interest.
We had a lot of interest in her. She's a slower maturing cow, which is kind of the way we like it here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she didn't come out as a 2-year-old, like some of the other ones do. But that's okay. Her story was a bit different. So,
but she's a different style than I would say. What I'll call them, the bigger, more massive 2-year-olds. She's one who's actually come into herself as a mature cow, or as she gets older. Then she wasn't probably a big, massive cow as a young cow. I wouldn't assume by the way she looks now.
No, because to be honest, the cows that are on the money as 2-year-olds, you never see them back.
Not always.
Very seldom. Very seldom.
Very seldom. Like, you stop and figure out how many 2-year-olds were hot as 2-year-olds. Okay, you know what? Apple did it. She looked good as a 2-year-old, and she matured well, right?
Yep.
But a lot of them, when they're big name 2-year-olds, yeah, you know what? They got no more room to mature.
Yep.
Into an older cow. So, yeah.
And it's stressful on them Yeah.
Well, 2 factors. First is the stress of the show and stress of calving them that quickly, that often, and trying to have them still mature and develop is hard to do. I know that
So you get a lot of interest out of those cows that do well at the shows and stuff. Sometimes it's embryo interest or whatever. And you know what? When you start flushing and stuff, they lose time, and maybe they don't cap back in or don't catch right away. And let's face it, those cows that take a year off, sometimes they just never come back.
Yeah. And it's
not everyone.
but I would say we did a thing one time looking at the number of 2-year-olds that came back as 5-year-olds, just trying to see how often, and it's a very short list. And then if you look at the number of cows, now if you correlate it to maybe 3 and 4-year-olds, the correlation goes way up though. Once they've had that second calf and they start getting going, then you start to see more correlation into the ones that mature better. But that first calvers onwards, very low.
Yeah.
That
depends too on what the judge is looking for. If he picks a 2-year-old that's a little immature, she might come back a few more times. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And the style is headed that way more now, but for a long time it was not that way. We'll word it that way. We're working at getting better, but even Candy Cane would be more of a style that's more of a modern style cow. Even if you look, I think when I was looking at it here, when you look at the 2 cows, Patricia and Candy Cane, as much as they have a lot of similarities, they also, like Candy Cane, I would say, is very much more of a modern style. She's not what I'd say a cookie cutter to her, I guess I call it great aunt, I'll call it. That had done it before.
Patricia was not a tall cow either.
No. Balanced and long, very long cow.
Yeah.
But which makes me ask you the question is this something like, do you breed for show type, or how would you describe your breeding strategy?
They got to be balanced
and functional.
And we do breed for a lot of type.
Yeah.
And probably not as much for milk as many would, but I think it's funny because she wins the 5-year-old class and she wins the production record too. So just goes to show you can make cows milk.
Well, we were always taught that if you have a functional cow, like if classification is following what it's supposed to do to create functional cows, then functional cows should make milk. And yes, there are some type bulls that don't produce milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But cows that are being fed properly and are functionally correct should make milk. So that's the basis of our herd. We like to milk pretty cows, we'll call them, right? We like to milk beautiful cows. But they have to be functional, and they do have to work at the end of the day. We don't keep cows that don't fill the bulk tank either, because we can't afford to. No no one really can afford to do that anymore.
And sometimes maybe they're not a 12,000 kilo 2-year-old,
Yep.
but they got high fat and it balances out where they're still paying the bills. So we'll take a slower maturing heifer that maybe takes a couple lactations to make a big record, but she hasn't had a free ride because she's done it in fat or whatever, right? So she's still making the money.
Yeah. Now, maybe for people to understand, like you're not a 500 or 1,000 head dairy farm where you have a lot of cows to help cover the bills. Maybe describe for people kind of what is your operation there in Saskatchewan.
We're a 70 cow tie stall barn.
Yep.
It's not fancy, but it's pretty functional. It's an older farm, so anyone that's been in Western Canada recognizes the Strudwick name. So we did take over.
We bought their farm.
We bought the Prairie Diamond farm from the Strudwicks. And yeah, they were fantastic partners when we moved in, like for people to purchase from, because they're cow people.
They are, as I said, they were very much active members of Holstein Association and everything as well.
Yeah.
But the herd come with us from Shirt Hill.
Yeah, the cows all came, so we just bought the facility.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. So, the cows all moved in 2015, and along with them came 3 little girls, and just Michael and I. So for the last 10 years, we have worked quite hard to get up and established and going on our own, and we've been very blessed with the cows that have come through our barn that we've bred, and also with the people that have attached themselves to us. And we really owe a lot to the team that we have around us, friends, neighbors, mentors, family. Without the people around us, it would be a different story as well.
And both parents come from dairy background, so it's not like we jumped into something we didn't know what we were doing.
Well, no, and I said with Jessica, before we were recording, I was reminiscing that her family has a show history. That's how I am familiar that way with Acme Star Lily. Can you kind of give us a bit of your background, Jessica, on kind of your family and kind of the highlights that way, if you don't mind?
For sure. I grew up at Crestemere Holsteins, Evan Marley Simonton. I grew up showing cows. My dad is very passionate about his Holsteins and genetics. So we grew up in the show ring. And then they were the owners of Acme Star Lily and later had partners with Alta Genetics and Continental Holsteins, and had a fun ride through my early teenage years being a part of that. And my dad still is in the barn. He still milks cows with my brother Lee. And Crestemere still exhibits cows. They're some of our biggest competitors in Western Canada there. And my sister still shows cows as well. She's moved over to Jersey's with the Charlin farms with the Kingdons in Ontario. So still a very, very active show family. It's kind of where we have our family reunions, is at the show barns for the most part. Being in 3 different provinces, right?
I saw some of your nieces and your sister just about a month ago in Ancaster at the show with your brother-in-law. They're very, very active in the Jersey breed. I wouldn't say they've gone very heavily Jersey, but that's obviously because of John's background. And John comes from the Jersey background, but hey, he was an associate at Expo there and did a fabulous job. And Michael, kind of, if you don't mind sharing kind of your family's background and how you got into all this.
Well, my mom and dad started the registered Holsteins in 1978. That's when the prefix was registered. So that was a few years after they got married. They, started milking cows, feeding pigs, and then it turned into, they started shipping cream at first, but then it turned into quota and stuff like that, and they bought some registered cows and got going. They raised 3 boys on the farm, so yeah, being teenage boys, I can't imagine that was easy at the time, but somehow they made it through it. And yeah, I don't know, I started doing a few shows, or maybe the first show I went to, I met Jessica.
Sure did.
And after that, I guess that sparked something that took a few years of convincing to get her on the same page. But after some negotiating and her realizing there wasn't any better options, then, I succeeded. So.
Are you trying to say there's limited options in the West, or are you just being humble?
I'm just saying, I think she was checking out other options, but yeah, when she come down to it, I was the best that was available at that time, maybe. So
I will refrain from commenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will add, though, that Michael has been breeding the Lovichs prefix herd since he was 15 years old.
Yeah.
He has been in charge of the breeding decisions there. So
Yeah.
the Lovichs herd that you see is largely based on his decisions and the help that he received when he was in his early teen years. And
my mom and dad letting me do it.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
And when I came along, I introduced them more into showing. It was actually Skycrest Holsteins that brought us together. Another Western show herd.
Yeah, a great family. Yeah.
Yep, that we're both friends with.
Yep.
So, I guess when we got together, then he came more to the shows, which was perfect for him because Michael's always had an interest. He was probably born one generation too late because he is a lot like the Dale Beenerts of the world and the Worm Atkins, just love cows. And it's actually to Dale Beenert's credit also that we have such a tremendous K family, because that is where the Beenert Encounter Kim came from.
Yeah, think about that when you go far enough back. Yeah.
Which is that's Katricia's dam.
Yeah.
And that was a deal between Michael and Dale, and however that all worked out. But
I believe we were at Skycrest when Dale approached me. They just built their tie stall barn.
Yep.
And Dale said, I have a cow for you if you want something with good pedigree. And I said, well, always interested. But I said, I don't know, are you talking big money? He said, no. He said, if you're interested, send your mom and dad with a check and I'll make it happen.
Oh, wow.
And it did.
It did.
So that was the story behind it. My mom and dad went to pick up this cow that was springing with her second calf.
Yep.
She was bred to Blitz at the time.
Yep.
We had a bull calf.
Yep.
And she never made it in Dale's dispersal because she had calved a month early as a heifer. So never made much on her. I think she went 84 points as a 2-year-old for Dale. Then we calved her in for the second time. And yeah, when my mom and dad got home with her, I said, so what does she look like? And they're like, yeah, looks like a springing cow. So, and
she was nothing fancy, and she didn't work overly hard at all.
And at that time, we never fed a TMR or nothing. And yeah, I think in 6 lactations, she never made 60,000.
Okay. But
it was a different time back then where they never pushed anything for milk.
No. But in 2009, you did breed her to Goldwyn. So that worked out.
I did.
That was a good decision.
Yeah, and now I'm trying to think how old I would have been in 2009.
We were married 2 years. We were married in 2007, so you're about 27.
And Patricia was born on my birthday.
Oh, really? Did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she's named after your cousin.
Yeah, and I had a little cousin at that time named Patricia, so that's how she got that name.
Oh, wow. And those omens all certainly worked out well as she matured. Now, I think you said you sold her as a 2-year-old or just as a young cow originally?
2-year-old. She was
She was fresh.
Fresh. And then obviously went to
Dale Beener picked her for a national convention sale in Manitoba that year as a bred heifer. She was due right after Christmas, and we sold her in March, April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And she should have.
Capped in. She was very good as a 2-year-old. I think at that time John Peters might have scored her or somebody like that.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, at that time, you know what? We wanted to get better cows and stuff. So you know what? Letting a cow like that go at that time was like not easy, but it worked out well. She went to TNL, and from TNL she went to
Nathan.
Van Exel, Entourage, and Nathan, and on to Butlers, on to Milk Source, and got the job done.
She did indeed.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, she got the big job done. So
yeah,
as you mentioned earlier, 2015 was a busy year for you guys. Busy, because why? Just because of the farm that was available, or why the move from Alberta? Because you're both Alberta kids. What was the prompting to the Saskatchewan move?
Needing a farm to milk in at that point.
Okay.
We had milked with Michael's parents for about 8 years. Since we were married. And there was just a lot going on, and succession plan was not working the way we had hoped it would.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the way it all shook out in the end is we purchased a farm in Saskatchewan. It was what was available to us at that time, but we could make work just to get going and keep milking cows. So that's just the way it shook out, and we don't dwell on
that.
We look forward and move forward.
Road in 2 or 3 years now, who knows?
Yep. And you know what? It was maybe the best move that could have ever happened to us.
Yep.
But anyways, that's how we came to be here. And the Strudwick farm was available.
Yep.
And they were looking for someone to move in, and the rest of Western Canada was not available.
Nope. And that is a tricky one. Now, you guys have the motto from my homework here. It's all about the cows. Now, and you talked about kind of the throwback to Dale Beanert and Norm Atkins and everything. So are you someone who uses genomics or data or that stuff heavily, or do you still go by
genomics? What are those?
Okay, that's what I'm asking. I'm just saying, when Jessica said about you being a throwback to them, I figured I already knew the answer to this question. So when you make your breeding decisions, how do you make your breeding decisions then?
You know what? Genomics is there. I have a hard time using it as a breeding tool because in our instance, a lot of our cows are old. And I can use a new bull on a cow that's excellent 94, that's 5E, and I will not get genomic numbers. I don't care what new bull I use because my cows are so old.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's there. It's not like we don't use any genomic bulls. It's just not the tool that we use.
The tool, yeah. You're not basing it off of that as your number one decision. You're right.
Yeah.
Classifiers, milk recording, cow families.
Cow families, there's probably number one.
Yeah. Cow families would be number one. If I don't like the bull that the family's out of, we won't use them.
Okay. So that's still a key part to your decision-making process.
Well, when I see bulls that are out of 3 unscored dams, I don't care what the numbers are. I can't use them.
Yep.
They just don't make sense for me to jump on that bandwagon.
Well, and I think based on the comments you've made and the longevity of the age of the cows you have, I think you're looking for you want families to pass on what they've been passing on from year to year and over a long-term period. And you don't get old cows by not using those type of bulls. So I think that's...
Oh, and to be honest, like we've had cow families over the years, and like there's been good daughters, but I could probably say like our Lovehill Susie Adam family and our Lovehill CL Heaven family and the Patricia family, those have been our 3 main...
And the Terrace and Narcissus.
Yeah, the Narcissus cow we bought when we first got married.
Yep.
And the Felicia cow we bought when we got married.
Yeah.
Those are probably the main families, and we still...
There's probably 5 cows that they trace back to.
Now,
for the beef of our herd, yeah.
When you're making breeding decisions, are you looking at it as a, like, iterative process, like I'm breeding for not just her daughters, but the next 2 or 3 generations? Because I think you guys seem to talk a lot about just how the families breed through. So I would assume that your breeding decisions reflect that too.
Well, right now we breed a lot for feet and legs, rump structure. It seems like our memories are there. And I don't want to say everybody's got good cows, but you're always looking for one thing to improve on.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's like we want better legs in our barn.
Mm-hmm.
Legs, rumps. Like, I'm not a high pin cow fan. Never have been. And I know some people go, "Oh well, in the show ring it don't matter." Yeah, but they still have to be functional outside the show ring.
Yeah.
And it does matter now.
Yeah.
So then maybe
it does more so now. I would say very much more so now. And I think especially.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, our breeding decisions come down to what is the cow lacking?
Yeah.
What improvements need to be made on her that her daughter will have, hopefully.
So then, when you made the decision to breed that resulted in Candy Cane, you did choose Sidekick. What was it about Sidekick that you felt would produce a cow probably capable of Candy Cane or that type of cow? Why did you choose Sidekick?
I honestly don't remember that choice of breeding on that cow. That's not one that sticks. You know what the Katrina does? Because at that time, Goldwyn was hot. Mm-hmm. And you had a cow that you thought would work on him, that needed the strength on everything else.
Yep.
So probably Sidekick at that time, there was a lot of cows being bred Sidekick here. And it just seemed like at that moment he had what we figured we needed.
We actually sold a lot of Sidekick daughters.
Yeah, we have.
Good ones.
Yeah.
Yep. So what would you describe Candy Cane like as a calf? Like, was she like a showy heifer, or how would you describe her as a heifer?
Immature. Average, immature.
She was actually, like, the kids do 4-H, and she was a kid from town had her as their project calf, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She was an off age. She's an October 20th.
So she just had her as her calf.
Yep.
Kids picked other animals, like our own kids picked other ones. She was always ornery. I'll tell you, like, she's been halter broke since she was a calf, so sorry to Jamie Black, but she just always got that attitude. If she doesn't want to go, she's not going.
She's mellow.
She has. She was a nice heifer, though, because I'll give it to my dad, a little bit of credit going out to him. She went out to pasture in Alberta for the summer.
As a bred heifer.
As a bred heifer or young heifer?
Bred heifer.
And my dad asked the price on her. He's like, I really like that heifer. Who is she? What is she? How much you want for her? She can just stay here.
Carrying an embryo at that time, and we said,
and I said, no, she's got to come home. So he saw something a little bit in her. So she wasn't ugly. She was.
He's had an eye. He's had an eye. He saw Lily before all the other guys got in. He's got an eye there. There's no question.
He had her as a calf, though, so
it's
different. But
you talk about her being ornery. I was thinking about the first time I saw her, like myself, face to face, was Jamie showing her in, I think it was New York. And your comments about ornery? Yeah. I would say he had a much easier, not saying it was easy at Expo, but a much easier go-round with her at Expo than he did in New York. She was a lot more cooperative at Expo than New York in the spring. I think that was a test for him in the spring show for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, I could have told you that because she was not easy at Saskatoon either.
Hey, but I will say, like, she got stubborn again by Supreme, but in her class and everything, she just strolled along for the most part. I was like, geez, it's not the same heifer, same cow to go. And Jamie, I think, probably going to say we jinxed it because when she got to Supreme, she was a little more back to her.
I was dumb. I had my opinion after champion to Supreme, like where they judged, and she was so hot, she was so done. Like he's like, I don't know if we're going to get her from the Supreme ring all the way back to the Coliseum because she just Yeah, she was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, when he was walking in the dark, you could tell Jamie was like, "Put a spotlight on me because I ain't moving and she ain't coming with me." And the spotlight goes, and he's kind of like, he's like, "Everyone else, come help me," because he knew that when she makes up her mind, she sticks to it. We'll leave it at that. So
yeah, because when she wants to lead, she goes beautifully.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As I say, it's her own will, because I'm like, when she goes, and she's a fabulous walking cow, like everything about her. But when she doesn't want to go, she also lets you know. So she's got personality. We'll leave it at that.
They have to.
Now, I was doing a bit of homework for this, and you guys do only have 70 heads, so very relatively smaller herd. But you did rank among the top herds in the master breeder categories. So, what does it mean for you guys, like those type of things? And is that something you set as goals, or is that just more a side effect of your other goals?
It's a goal.
Both.
Yep.
So it's a goal, but you can't sit here and breed cows to say you're going to be a master breeder. Because like everything has to align on that as well. Such a small number of producers receive that every year, and yeah, we've been close a couple times, and then all of a sudden one year you have more registrations and your numbers bump and everything. Shift categories and everything else. So yeah, it would definitely be cool one day. Is it a goal? Yes. Does it change our day-to-day basis? No.
Okay. And the other thing you mentioned is about getting them to good homes, and I think in both cases, you look at the names involved with Patricia, and there was a lot of good homes there, and then you look at Oakfield and Jamie as well, and the team there. It's worked out very well for you guys to have them go to these homes where they kind of work well. And it sounded like you're still in quite a bit of contact, even with the lambs, as you went through all this. What does that mean to you to kind of still be involved?
I think that's almost the coolest part of the candy cane story for us, is that we gained a friendship out of the deal. They were really just acquaintances when we first started, and then we followed up to make sure the cow traveled well and stuff like that, and it just kind of grew from there, where they would send us updates about how she was doing, and then it really means something to us to be able to watch the cow develop and continue to get better, and we will give them full credit for taking her to that next level and doing that, because they're phenomenal cow people and they really love beautiful cows as well. So we have a lot of similarities, which is, I think, why we bonded a little bit with them. And yeah, it was just by chance. We always give glory to God for what he's done for us, Andrew, because we can only do our best and God has to orchestrate the rest. And for them to be at our farm 2 years prior at a convention and then sit on the bus next to Michael again in 2024, those are not things that you plan to have happen. They just happen. And so it's been a cool ride, and it means the world to us to be able to go along with them for this part of the ride and for them to include us. And we've also gained a huge appreciation and respect for what they do with cows. Our goal is always to have honest cows. So what you see in the show ring is what you find in our barn. And I think Oakfield runs their operation very closely aligned to how we view that as well. So
I would say, as you get to know Jonathan and Alicia, you'll realize that their passion for just genuine cattle, genuine business, the whole part is as sincere and as deep as anyone you will find. Like they just love good cows, any type of cow, like whether it's a commercial cow, show cow, index cow. They just have a genuine passion for doing the best they can with every type of cow that way. That's why I say when she went to a good home, she did very much go to a good home. And how do you decide which ones you're going to sell?
It always sucks because it seems like everybody wants the good ones, and those are the ones you want to keep. And my wife goes to the show and tells me we're going to sell this one, and I bite my tongue and be like, oh no. But they always seem to do well for the new owner, so I guess that's not a bad thing.
But we have one at Elmview right now, too, that we sold last fall, and she was at Expo and looked pretty good. So
really good.
She continues to develop for them as well.
Yep.
Yeah, she's pretty fresh, so probably I don't know. They'll probably take her to the Royal. She'll look different then. So,
I think, and I was gonna say, give her a bit more time, and she just wasn't quite as long into lactation as some of the other cows in that class. So,
no, that's right. And some of them just need that time for the body and to just fill back out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we won't say that we don't know, like, how to get good cows to good level, but we're a busy family. With the girls are involved in a lot of different things because we want them to have a more than just the farm mindset. And our biggest challenge is usually feed, and we cannot grow grass in Saskatchewan.
Well,
and that could be a huge part of a show program, I'll say. So
huge. No, very huge.
Yeah.
And I think especially when you talk about the level of World Dairy Expo, it takes a lot of work, like a lot of work. And you look at a lot of these programs where it's a dedicated team, and as a young couple and getting going, to have you don't have the resources or the time to make that happen, and that's kind of sometimes it's not even as much a cost factor as for the cow to get to the level she needs to be. I don't have the time or the current capabilities to do that, but someone else does, and that's kind of the reality of kind of the business this game. It's not a bad thing; it's a great thing. It's just recognizing that and finding the right partners to work with to make that happen.
You have to recognize your limitations, and your strengths and your weaknesses, and your limitations and your opportunities.
And we had opportunity to sell the cow earlier too. Like in Saskatoon, there was a lot of guys that come up and wanted a price. So Jessica gave them a price, and when I got up later that week, there was still a lot of talk, and she was not priced crazy or anything, and nobody seemed to want to pay that to us. So after she won the 4-year-old class, then we had a whole bunch of guys come back and want to buy her then. And I said, no, Mike, that's like betting on a hockey game and waiting for the third period to be done before you place your bet. So I said, no, she's X amount of money now. Well, that's too much. I said, then it's too much.
You don't mind to take her home.
And we walked away from it. And to be honest, it was probably the best thing that happened, because where she ended up, they're phenomenal cow people, and we can't give them enough credit. And it was on a 2024 National Holstein Convention where we were sitting on the bus going to the Master Breeder Banquet where we struck up the conversation.
Now, I would think now, after having become the first people to ever breed 2-time grand champions at World Dairy Expo, the interest level, though, and the kind of potential for marketing the herd has gone up, though, I would say nowadays.
I hope so.
It's still quite early. I get that. But I would say that...
no, the phone hasn't stopped.
Well, I guess there's been a lot of ask about embryos, but you'd expect that from a grand champion cow. I don't necessarily know that it's coming from 2 times yet.
No, but I mean even just in general. The interest would be there.
Because there's 2 daughters here on the farm, and we like them, and we'll see what happens. Big interest in them, and like at this point, they were priced high because we don't want to sell them, and if they sell for that price, in all honesty, we can't turn it down.
Economics.
I should say, still a young couple, and you live in a quota system, so there's always ways to invest cash if you really want to keep growing. So, And you also talked about the kids, and I know you guys have done farm tours. You mentioned stuff like that. How much does it mean to you, like I know for you, Jessica, this was about the age when you were watching Lily. What does it mean for you to have your kids, like your daughter, involved in that now? And what has her reaction been like?
Well, all three of them.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So the two that are in high school got a free pass to skip their first class after lunch and watch. So they were sitting in the car watching the show. And then the one that's still in elementary, I said, if she does well in her class, I will come and pick you up from school. And so when she won the 5-year-old class, I owed it to her to be able to watch Champion at least, regardless of how it whatever happened, right? So they were all watching from various places that day, and they were crying, they were laughing, they were super excited. They know, they have an idea of what it means because they've been coming with me to the show since they were born. I would take them in a backpack or a stroller and go to the show. So they've slept on hay bales on a show pack for 14, 16, 11 years. So they get it. They understand the work that goes behind the scenes because they do it. They are the crew at the show. My average age of my show crew is usually like 16.
Yep.
You know, we have a couple fitters that are older sometimes, but so they're super excited, and I hope that they take the excitement with them, but they also have a realization for the work that goes into it, and that it doesn't happen every day. It may never happen again, but that doesn't mean that you can't work hard towards it. Yeah. And they're pretty involved. Like, they do chores on the farm. They have to be. Like, it's a matter of survival around our place. If you're not in the barn, then you're in the kitchen cooking supper. Yeah. And then they each own their own animals too. So they all have Holsteins here. Renelle actually had her face on Facebook not too long ago with a loyal daughter that actually comes from the Patricia family. That lucky little girl. Lucky young lady, I should say. They own a Jersey that they got from their aunt and uncle.
I was going to say, is that John's influence in here or what? So, yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother story. If you want the whole story, it's quite funny, but it's pretty long. Yeah, and then they also have a herd of beef cows. So they have about 25 beef cows that they have invested in, and that's their college fund. Kind of thanks to Michael's mom and dad got them that for their first birthdays. Red heifer. Fantastic idea. And
Mom and dad pay the feed bill and the kids get a calf check. It works great.
I was going to say, that's a good program. I don't see the complaints in that.
No, there's usually never any complaining, that's for sure, when the checks roll in. Yeah.
Especially got this year.
That's very nice of Gary and Diane to do for them. Have you had a chance to talk to them since winning Supreme? Have your parents said much to you about that, Michael?
Oh, yeah. I talked to them when I was down there.
Yep.
So, yeah. No, they're pretty happy and stuff. And yeah, you know what, sometimes at that moment there's not really words to describe anything because it's an emotional rush. And I talked to my mom the night it happened, and I think she was crying. And the next day, well, my dad was in the field that day or whatever, and my phone was going crazy, so the limited number of calls I made that Friday night, but Saturday morning I talked to him for a while when I was in the airport, and it was very touching. Like it was, it's an accomplishment, and you know what? Like, they started in 1978, and here we are. How many years after? What are we? Just about?
Well, they just had their 50th wedding anniversary. So
50 years later, you know, I guess we're reaping the benefits from a start. You know what I mean?
And Jessica, your dad, he probably can relate to it somewhat, obviously, from the Lily. Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Oh, yeah. They were watching. for sure that day. They were online. And they were calling throughout the day, actually, because they were pretty excited, like really excited. Yeah. It's pretty awesome to be able to share it with them.
I look at things here, guys. You've been Saskatchewan's outstanding young farmers. You've been among the top master breeders. Now you've done something no one's ever done, and bred 2 World Dairy Expo Grand Champions. What ones of those stand out most for you? And I don't know how to force you to choose, but what do those mean to you, and which ones kind of stand out most for you?
This one means the most to me.
Why?
Why? Because you know what? She wasn't sold as a baby calf or anything, so I feel like we did have a bit of hand in developing her, and we probably could have took her out as a younger cow, but we just didn't feel that she was maybe quite ready. So it took 3 calves for us to decide that it was time to take her. We wanted to take her as a second calver, but the spring she was going to go to BC. Jessica ended up having a hernia surgery, so we kiboshed all that, and yeah, we just let her. We never showed her that fall because she was stale again, and then we waited for her to calve back in, and I just feel like we had more of Jessica, myself, and the 3 kids involved in this one. Yeah.
No.
So the outstanding young farmers was all of us too.
Yeah.
They're completely like
They're all different.
They're so different. Like being a part of that outstanding young farmers group is an amazing group of people, and perhaps we owe a little bit of what goes on here to that group. We first were introduced to them in 2017, like just getting to watch friends of ours win for Alberta. And you want to talk about a group of farmers, all different kinds of farmers that just have visions and dreams and drive. Like, it's an amazing group of people. And so it was a huge opportunity and benefit for us to be part of that group too. And, it's just, it's wild.
Lifelong friends.
Yeah. So, and it's completely removed. There's not a lot of dairies that are involved in that group. There's a handful of them, but they're quite a mixed group of farmers there. So, yeah, that one, like,
that it's definitely cool. And then like the candy cane win now, when you say like the Love Hill prefix has bred 2 champions, like sometimes when you read the articles of all the great herds or whatever in years past and they've never done it, it gives you just a feeling that you're like, man, I guess I do fit in, or like I don't know what the feeling is. It's kind of gives you goosebumps to think that you could have done something that no other prefix has done, right?
Yep. No, it's huge. It's huge. There's ones who've had a lot of success, but I was even just doing it through cow families, and there are ones that have had twos in the cow family, like Frosty and Footloose and stuff. But like even that's a short list, and then even to say all under one prefix under one breeding program, well, no, that's the first time ever, and that's extremely impressive. My question is there a third? Is the goal the third? Is the third?
Everybody else, I said it was first, it might be better.
it might
you always got to dream big. You always got to dream bigger, right?
Yeah.
So now when she goes to the show next week, I'm going to say nothing's for sale because maybe it could be the next one.
There's still bills to pay.
I was gonna say, I could hear Jessica saying, we still got bills to pay, and there'll still be a couple I'm planning to sell while we're there. Because kids, what do you say? Kids probably going off. I know they have the beef herd, but there is still school and everything else down the road. I'm sure that
very involved in sports as well.
Oh, what sports do they do?
They're all figure skaters.
Okay.
One runs competitive track.
Oh wow.
One is getting into curling. one is just a genuine cowgirl. They're all in 4-H.
Yeah.
And they're all very active in their youth groups at church.
Wow, you guys must be busy then. Life is very busy.
Some days it's just insanity.
Yeah, that word busy doesn't describe it.
I'm saying,
Insanity.
you talk about running the show program, and then you talk about the kids, and you mentioned then about having the kids being active in things, and then you describe just how active they are. I'm like, yeah, you don't have the time to do the other. That's not there. But
that's why now it's like, okay, somebody's taking the cows out on the tractor, somebody's feeding them hay, somebody's graining them. Like,
yeah.
Somebody is doing all these little things that need to be done because there's not enough hours in the day for Jessica or myself to get around to it, right?
Yep. No, for
and
sure.
I also coach figure skating and lead the 4-H club.
Oh, wow. Fun story for you. About a month ago, I was a figure skater as a young kid before I got into hockey. And I decided I didn't want to be a figure skater, so I was laying on the ice and kicking my feet. And my coach, who ended up being my sister's coach all the way up into nationals, comes over trying to get me to get off the ice, and I kicked so hard with the toe pick that I stuck it in her forehead. And to this day, she still has the scars of the 4 picks in her forehead where I stuck the toe pick in her. And she kids that, Andrew, the day you decided to go play hockey, I was the happiest coach in the world.
That's hilarious. Now.
Now. She laughs about it now. But at the time, it was not.
I sure hope you were like under the age of 10 and not 16 or 18 when that happened.
I was 7, so yes.
It's better that way, yeah.
Yeah, but I was throwing a hissy fit and kicking my feet, and I did become a goalie, so we still had kind of points on our skates, but the toe picks were a little too much of a weapon. For me when I was younger.
I've never had that happen. I hope.
Yeah, as I say, so let's hope you don't get a little brat kid kicking his feet and decide to roll over and kick you with a toe pick, because that could leave a lifelong scar.
Yeah.
Now, you guys do live kind of outside of the beaten path for show herds. And in not a large herds, and usually that kind of defines success. And you guys have been able to have success without being on the beaten path, without having to have a large herd. What advice would you give to other people who find themselves in that situation on how they can achieve success?
Oh, well, I do we're going to have a shout out to Saskatchewan producers here, because we actually there's not a lot of us. We may be kind of off the beaten path, but the group of dairies that we live around here are phenomenal breeders and passionate breeders. And so, there's 10 or 12 of us that are quite close together, and we help each other if someone needs help. We celebrate each other's victories when someone does well. And so I think that community really, it's such a tremendous benefit. So we're not out here on the prairies completely alone.
Feels like it some days.
I mean, and there's a group, up north and through the middle a little bit too. They're just a little bit further removed, but like a 3-hour drive to go visit a friend up there is nothing. It's like nothing. I mean, it's 8 hours to go home, right? So Saskatchewan has been a pretty incredible place, and all of Western Canada has been super supportive of our farm and Michael and I, and we probably can't thank the breeders in Western Canada for supporting us enough, because they have had huge impact on our operation and who we are today, just growing up with them and showing with them and stuff like that. So I just have to put that out there.
No, and it's a really tight group. It's one thing I even remember, like I think even going back to your dad's days, but the Western group as a whole was almost like a family with each other. And I think that still continues to this day. in that way. I was thinking about it because one of the cows we bred that ended up being the NASCO production winner at Expo was a boy from up there, Ian Crosby. And Ian's a fabulous guy, just loves his cows and passionate. And I call it he bleeds the Western way. He's one of the ones that's, I think, helps keep it going in the making it a family and making everyone feel welcome. So with Ian and the group. So no, it's a great community you guys have out there. What's the goals now for Lovholm? What do you guys, what's the motivation? What's the drive? What's the next level that you want to achieve?
The future. We're honestly like at a point now where the kids are getting older, so it's too soon to tell what they want to do, but we have to look to what we are physically capable of doing and where we need to be if they so choose to be dairy farmers. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of back to the transition phase as far as the farm as a whole and just looking to what the future might hold that way. But every day is still the same. We want to keep breeding functional cows. We want to still breed cows that we enjoy milking and we can have a little bit of fun with taking them to the show. And, for all the acclaim that we have, we still don't have a grand champion banner hanging anywhere on our farm. So there's still some small goals.
Because my wife called them before we get to that point.
Yeah. See, you're going to be like, from now on, no, honey, we can't sell any. We can't sell any. She'll be like, we got to pay bills.
Yeah. So there's always something there, we'll just continue doing what we're doing and continue planning for the future as best we can. And
candy cane being grand right now, maybe not the greatest timing because now your kids are going to be hooked and they're right at that age where they have to make start making those life decisions. So they're going to be like, well, of course, I want to breed the next generation. And then you're going to have multiple kids who want to be dairy farmers. And there you go. Then you have the same challenge again.
Of course, the 11-year-old was just eavesdropping that conversation. And she's like, excuse me, Mom. And she comes out holding her Jersey Dairy Show Junior Champion banner, Alberta Dairy Congress 2025.
And
you're right.
Uncle John,
heifer.
and Uncle John would be extremely proud.
Yes.
I know John fairly well, and I'm bet that he would be like, switch them to jerseys, guys. Switch them to jerseys.
That's what they're trying to brainwash them to do. There's a whole backstory behind that jersey cap.
No, I can imagine with John that there would be. So,
Well, Michael's actually the instigator because he sent a Holstein there for Christmas.
Oh, Michael!
1 year, so he instigated it, and then
I'm innocent.
We didn't know that there was a jersey coming, but he thought Lee was probably feeling left out, and so last Christmas he sent Lee's kids an Ayrshire.
Oh gosh!
No, we'll wait and see where the Crestemere Ayrshire herd, how that develops. But actually, she was a pretty sweet little heifer.
So, are you a little nervous about
water off a master breeder herd in Vancouver Island in a dispersal? So it's not like it just bought a Ayrshire.
No, we try to pick them a good one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that you may be a little nervous about what you're getting for Christmas this year, though, guys.
Well, the girl's got a jersey, and she wound up to be junior champion, so they maybe up the game just a little bit.
Yeah. They're still shorthorns. You still could have some shorthorns and some Guernseys if you really wanted to try. Oh, and Canadian.
Oh. Well, hopefully the 11-year-old's not listening anymore because she actually bought a cow-calf shorthorn pair last year on the beef side.
Beef side, okay.
Then she watched Expo and was like, I kind of like that shorthorn cow. And I went, you already got one.
Well, some things you might want to nip in the bud.
Anyways.
That's cool. Well, that covers all of my questions, and I think you guys have been incredible. That's great, and you guys have had historic achievements. So I want to say thanks for taking the time. So
remember that, like none of this that we just the awards, glory, any of that, just to remember that you can't take any of that with you when you leave this earth, but all of it can be taken from you in an instant. So every day we just give God the glory, and we are so thankful for the way he has blessed our farm and our family. And so we just want to live our life with integrity and faith. And we just feel that if we do these things and we work hard, you just can't fathom the blessings that God may give you along the way. So that's just our encouragement for people.
And I think you guys are the perfect example of that, because you've had a lot of achievements, but you're also still so humble. And I can tell that it still means so much to you guys. So big testament to your faith as well as just who you guys are. So thanks for sharing that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you for having an interest in what we do, Andrew.
Well, there you have it. The Lovholm story isn't just about breeding 2 world champions. It's proof that excellence doesn't require unlimited budgets or thousands of cows. It requires looking at actual cattle, trusting cow families, and having the courage to ignore what everyone else is doing. If a 72-cow farm in Saskatchewan can beat every genomic powerhouse twice, maybe it's time we all started looking at our cows instead of our screens. Thanks for listening to the Bullvine podcast. If this story changed how you think about breeding, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, sometimes the future of dairy farming looks a lot like its past, just with better cattle and the courage to trust what you see. Until next time, keep challenging the status quo.